Hi, everyone, and welcome to this talk on the technology behind the UK Biobank Research Analysis Platform. I'm George Asimenos, Chief Technology Officer for DNAnexus. Yes, that DNAnexus, the one that was founded in 2009 and has more than 150 employees, the one that's synonymous with the dynamic platform for precision medicine, the one that helps customers tackle the most exciting opportunities in human health and beyond. And one of those opportunities is obviously the UK Biobank. And to paraphrase a famous airline video, for the 0.0001% of you who have never heard about UK Biobank before, it works like this. UK Biobank recruited 500,000 people across the UK, aged between 40 and 69 years, from 2006 to 2010. These volunteer participants visited assessment centers where they were asked to answer questionnaires about their lifestyle, health habits, and more. This is actual footage from the questionnaire. And they were also subject to various physical measurements, as well as imaging experiments, including MRI of the brain and other organs, a full body DEXA scan, imaging of the eye, as well as ultrasound of the carotid and others. In addition, they consented to have their health records linked with the UK Biobank. So the UK Biobank was able to grab their hospital records, their primary care records of interactions with their GP doctors, as well as death records, cancer records, and even COVID-19 test results. And of course, it wouldn't be a biobank if there was no sample collection. So the UK Biobank collected blood, saliva, and urine and stores the samples in a biobank facility in Manchester, UK that looks exactly like in this photo. This allows the biobank to conduct additional biochemical experiments even after the participants have left. This includes things like biomarker assays for blood lipids or genotyping array technology, exome sequencing using next generation sequencing, and more recently, whole genome sequencing. So all in all, as you realize, this is a data set with a lot of challenges of increased complexity of data, thanks to all of these data modalities that are being collected and combined, but also challenges with regards to the scale of data. We're talking here about tens of thousands of measured fields and 500,000 participants, 10 million or so files, and hundreds of millions of medical records. And combine all these mean petabyte scale bytes for now and tens of petabytes in the future. So it makes sense that the biobank would need to procure a research analysis platform, an environment where people would go and be able to access the data and to run analysis to find the next frontier of scientific findings. So the UK Biobank chose DNAnexus to build the research analysis platform, and DNAnexus worked with Amazon Web Services to support this endeavor. So let me tell you a few things about the research analysis platform. Prior to someone coming to the research analysis platform, they go through an already established process via which they get access to UK Biobank. This is so that all of us, regardless of whether we are based in the US, in the UK, or elsewhere, and regardless of whether we are in academia or industry, all of us can get access to the UK Biobank resource by applying to UK Biobank. In this research application, researchers choose the specific subset of fields that they get access to, because for purposes of privacy and security, they need to use the strictest amount of data that they can for the research, not just get vanilla access to the whole data set. They list their collaborators, they sign some legal documents, and once their application gets reviewed and approved by the UK Biobank, they can then come to the research analysis platform and get access to their approved subset on the data. On the UK Biobank research analysis platform side, they enter their application ID and create a virtual environment or a project in which the system, after contacting UK Biobank and confirming their access as well as the characteristics of their application, dispenses the appropriate and approved data into the project, perfectly organized in folders according to the hierarchy of the UK Biobank system. From there, researchers can run analyses, whether these are part of the off-the-shelf analytical tools provided by the platform or their own, pretty much anything that runs on Linux, as well as access interactive tools such as the IGV Genome Browser or Jupyter Lab or the innovative DNAnexus cohort browser that allows researchers to take a look at the distributions of the fields and use filters to build cohorts and to compare cohorts, reaching insights with just a few clicks. Now, all of this is built on top of DNAnexus technology and Amazon Web Services cloud infrastructure. But let's talk about what's so special in this case and how does this work behind the scenes. As you can see on this slide, the data is actually held in an Amazon Web Services bucket, but people don't get access to it directly because they only need to access an approved subset for which DNAnexus provides technology that allows people to see virtual projects with, quote, soft copies of their data. So without really copying any data around, they get presented with this folder hierarchy and only the subset of files that they have been allowed to access. In addition to creating these virtual environments, the platform is required to do something else very important for privacy called pseudonymization. Now, if pseudonymization sounds Greek to you, well, that's because it is a Greek word. And it's about the ability for a system to change the identifiers of the individuals so that it protects the original identifiers and makes each researcher see a unique identifier that's mapped from the original identifier specifically for that researcher. This is typically done at the file name level. So for example, if subject 2937 from the UK Biobank research has their left eye imaged, the file name might be called subject2937.lefteye.png. But what each user sees is a different file name, like subject 4281 or 3899. And this is done on the DNAnexus platform with an additional layer on top of Amazon S3, which has a specific fixed name for every file name. And with this virtual project layer, we can actually change the file name depending on who sees and who asks that question. And I know what you're thinking now. Oh, okay, well, you are changing file names. That wasn't that hard, but there's more. In fact, we don't have to just do it for file names. There are cases where we have to do it for the file content while still maintaining a single copy of each file on Amazon S3. In fact, here's an example of a variant calling file where in the header of the file, there's actually a line that lists all the identifiers of the individuals whose genomic variants are listed in this file. So in this case, we see on the left, this file has 1234 and 2937 in the header. But when a user accesses that file, they need to see different content. They need to see, for example, 83724281 if it's user A, because they have their own uniquely pseudonymized identifiers for the purposes of privacy and security. And of course, that's more difficult to do. I'm sure you can agree, because in reality, behind the scenes, there is but one true copy on Amazon S3. So how are we going to do that? The way this is done, while keeping every file exactly once with the original content, is through not allowing user code to connect to the Amazon Web Services bucket directly. Instead, it runs in a Linux container inside an EC2 instance. And adjacent to that container is a DNAnexus watermarker service through which all requests for all byte range access to any file go through. Now, we've been able to do it in such a way that adds zero overhead to the transfer, and which allows us to change the header of this compressed file without even decompressing the file, and while allowing the associated tabix index or TBI file to not have to change when the VCF header changes. And that's very difficult, yet It's through opportunities like this where we can work with the incredible technology of Amazon and support endeavors like UK Biobank that we can do this. So going back out of the deep technology layer and grabbing some oxygen, at the end of the day, no matter how big the challenges and no matter how magic the solution, the goal is to democratize access to the UK Biobank datasets so that researchers around the world can access the data and run analysis to compute the next frontier of scientific findings thanks to the technology of DNAnexus and the cloud infrastructure of Amazon Web Services. I'd also like to thank Amazon Web Services for sponsoring the storage of the main biobank data, the petabytes that you heard about earlier, so that researchers don't have to pay when they access the data for that primary storage. Thank you so much for watching. And for more information, you can scan this QR code with your phone or just visit dnanexus.com/partnerships/UK Biobank.